Welcome. Today we're going to be testing some 69 grain ammunition with the Steyr AUG and also answering some viewer questions here on the Tennessee Rifleman. Now, before testing some 69 grain ammunition today, there's a couple of questions that viewers asked about the last video, and I'm going to take some time to address those. Now, the first question is, can you actually shoot? And to be fair, that's a solid question. After all, to this point, the only information that you have about my shooting ability is a self-assessment that I am an average shooter at best. So, to help try to determine where I sit on the range of the shooting spectrum and if I actually have the fundamentals down, we're going to be using a Lewis machine and tool sharpshooter. Now, this rifle is very similar to the Lima 129 Alpha 1 in United Kingdom service. The differences are that as opposed to a 16-inch barrel, this one has a 20-inch barrel. It's 11.25 twist, and for optics, we're gonna be using a Night Force ATACR 5 to 25 times scope with the Trimmer 3 reticle. Ammunition will be 175 grain Federal Premium Sierra Match King, which is of course in .308. Now, you may be asking, why are you using a completely different rifle, a completely different caliber in order to test this? Now, the reason behind that is my theory is that if I change every single variable except for the shooter and the method I'm using for stabilizing my shooting, you'll get a decent idea of the type of accuracy that I, as a shooter, am capable of doing. All right, so we're down at the target, and as you can see, I got a little excited and fired 6 shots as opposed to 5. If you look at the group over here, you're at 0.9 inches. From here to here, you're at 1.2 inches overall. So with the Lima 129 Alpha 1, I haven't found an exact military specification, but the general idea is that with match grade ammunition, you should be able to shoot a 5 group of sub-minute of angle accuracy. Now, in this case, I went a little over, so you can judge for yourself how good or bad of a shooter I happen to be. Now, another question that came from some viewers is the group size of the American Eagle XM193 55 grain full metal jacket rounds that we fired last time, being about 5 inches total. Now, I will admit I did a rather poor job explaining the shooting conditions at the time. So going back through the shooting conditions, we're sitting at about 94 degrees average over a 3.5 hour time period, with winds varying between 8 miles per hour and 12 miles per hour. Now, today conditions are slightly different. We've got 87 degrees out here. Additionally, we've got wind gusts going between 4 to 8 miles per hour. So to see what the conditions are today, we're going to go ahead and shoot another 5-round group of 55 grain full metal jacket American Eagle XM193 and see how it performs under these conditions. The 55 grain ammunition was not impressive at all, to say the least. For the round's impact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this is absolutely horrendous. So just to make sure, I shot this actually 3 times before, and as I continued to shoot, my group just got progressively worse, with the best group today being about 6.5 inches with the 55 grain American Eagle. The 55 grain American Eagle appears to just not be accurate through my rifle under the conditions that I'm shooting. I went ahead and shot the Hornady 62 grain ammunition off camera, and what I got is 2.8 inches between this round and this round here. Now, last time we got 2.5 inches, so I'd say that it's definitely performing consistently. Now, one of the comments made by a viewer was that he was able to get around 2 minutes of angle with steel-cased ammunition that he was firing. Now, while I do know that the brand was Wolf, the gentleman in question didn't go into detail about whether it was 55 or 62 grain. I wasn't able to find any Wolf at this time, but what I was able to find was some Tula 55 grain full metal jacket steel-cased ammunition. Now, we're going to load up 5 rounds and shoot it. Traditionally, with the Steyr AUG, the manual recommends that you set the gas setting to adverse. For the purposes of this test, I'm going to keep it on standard, see if we have any malfunctions, and then set it to adverse if I need to finish this string of fire. Looking at the Tula 55 grain ammunition, the largest spread we have is from here to here, which gives us 4.6 inches overall. Now, it's very interesting that I fired this ammunition after the 55 grain American Eagle, and it certainly performed better than any of the other groups I have. Tula was the cheapest ammunition available, currently in stock when I bought it, on SG Ammo at 26 cents per round. So it appears that steel-cased ammunition is actually not as bad as some people give it the reputation for. I'll admit, previously I was not a fan of steel-cased ammunition, but certainly if I had nothing but Tula ammunition lying around and I had to use that, it's certainly usable. Now, with that being said, I was not able to get around 2 minutes of angle shooting it from my rifle, so bear that in mind. So at this point, hopefully I've answered a couple of questions for you. 1, do I have the fundamentals of shooting down? 2, how does American Eagle XM193 perform in different conditions? 3, how does the Hornady 62 grain perform in differing conditions? And 4, how does steel-cased ammo perform compared to the American Eagle? Those are pretty interesting results, but now we're going to get on to the main course itself, which is testing a variety of 69 grain ammunition that I have available. The first one that we're going to do is Federal Premium's loading of 69 grain Sierra Match King, again, under slightly differing conditions to see how it performs. Now remember, the last time we shot it, we were able to shoot about 2.2 inches at 100 yards. Let's see how it does today. So looking at Federal Premium's loading of the 69 grain ammunition, today it performed a little bit better. From here to here, we had 2.06 inches. Now the next round we're going to try is Australian Outback's loading of the 69 grain Sierra Match King. Now, there's a couple of things interesting just looking at the packaging here. 1, the box itself just has the specific information put on as a sticker. And 2, the way that you receive the ammunition is in these plastic packages. It makes it a little more difficult to remove them from it, but in theory, they should be protected from the elements for a significantly longer time period than those just sitting in a box. Let's go ahead and test these out and see how they perform. Wow, I am extremely impressed with the performance of this ammunition. So the greatest spread was from this round here to this round here, which gives us 1.1 inches. That is extremely impressive for what is considered a fighting rifle. Of note, 2 bullets both went through that hole there. So we've got an extremely close group, and all I can say is that the Australian Outback 69 grain Sierra Match King performed extraordinarily well. Up next in the testing is the Israeli Military Industries 69 grain Razor Core ammunition. Now, I'm not sure why they call it Razor Core, as it really just has a 69 grain Sierra Match King bullet loaded onto it. Now, I've shot these rounds before, and I will say that I had severe reliability issues with them. So out of a box of 500, I had 10 rounds that just straight up failed to shoot, 4 rounds that blew their primer, and I also had 4 rounds where the case actually got stuck in the barrel and I had to remove the barrel of the AUG and pull it out with a pair of pliers. That being said, it may be a bad lot of ammunition. In fact, I'm inclined to think that's what it is. So we're going to test out some of the remaining supply that I have today and see how accurate it is overall. All right, the IMI 69 grain from here to here gave 2.2 inches of total spread. Now, I had severe reliability issues with these, so I would highly encourage you to test these out before you buy them for your rifle. That being said, for the price, the accuracy performance is not too shabby. So with the IMI ammunition, out of the 5 rounds I shot, 1 actually blew a primer. So out of 5 rounds, I had 1, what I would consider major malfunction. You be the judge on if you want to buy this ammunition or not. Next up on the list is the Fiocchi Exacta rifle match ammunition. This is again loaded with a Sierra Match King 69 grain bullet. Now, I've never used Fiocchi before. I can say that the case looks a little bit ugly, but I do quite like the round carriers that this come in. They're a nice red color, and the rounds themselves look to be a pretty good quality. I know that these rounds are fairly popular with some of my viewers, so we're going to go ahead and test them out today and see how they perform compared to everything else. We went ahead and fired the Fiocchi rounds, and what we've got is a total of 2.4 inches between here and here, the 2 furthest rounds. All right, up next we have Black Hill's loading of the 69 grain tipped Sierra Match King. Now, Black Hills is a very famous ammo manufacturer renowned for their quality, and I am definitely eager to test out these rounds and see how they compare to the others. Now, as stated earlier, these are tipped Sierra Match Kings, and in theory, the polymer tip on the end makes them a little bit better ballistically. We'll see how they perform. All right, so the first batch of Black Hills ammunition, the 69 grain tip Sierra Match King, did not perform well at all. We had 1 round over here and 1 located over here. And that, of course, is a very massive spread that I'm not even going to manage. To give it the benefit of the doubt that maybe I was shooting poorly, I'm going to fire it again and see how it performs. Checking the target the second time with firing the Black Hills ammunition, I can only find 3 impacts, 1, 2, and 3. Now, I'm going to make a very bold assumption and assume that there are 2 rounds here and 2 rounds here. I don't know. But even with that, from here to here is 3.5 inches, which is certainly not impressive at all. Everything but the 55 grain ammunition we've shot has beaten that today. Now, Black Hills makes some great ammunition. They're a very reputable manufacturer of ammunition, but for whatever reason, my AUG absolutely did not like firing this ammo. For our last test today, we're going to be testing out the Lapua 69 grain Cenar ammunition. Now, this is by far the most expensive ammunition I've ever purchased for 223, and I will say that these rounds are absolutely immaculate. Additionally, we're trying a different bullet than the venerable Sierra Match King, which has performed more or less pretty impressively thus far. Is the price of this round worth it as far as accuracy? Let's test it out. The Lapua 69 grain Cenar rounds performed fairly well. Looking at the largest spread from here to here, you have a distance of 1.7 inches. Today we've shot 9 different brands of 223 and 5.56 ammunition, and I think that you'll agree that the results are certainly surprising. I'm going to go ahead and go back home, calculate all the data, and then present the findings to you in a concise manner. We're back at home, and I've gone ahead and put in the data for the ammo that we tested today. There's a couple of points of discussion. First, as I've stated previously, test your ammo. Federal's American Eagle has consistently performed terribly through my AUG. At this point, I'm deeming it unsuitable for further testing. When you have a cheap, not very renowned ammo manufacturer like Tula vastly outperforming a round, then I don't really see the point in continuing. Black Hills also makes some exceptional ammunition, and they have a very good reputation. Their ammunition is renowned for its accuracy. There are many people who swear by Black Hills, but today, under these conditions, shot through my AUG, the 69 grain tipped Match Kings simply didn't perform. I look forward to testing some Black Hills loadings in the future for further videos. However, I don't see much of a point of continuing with a 69 grain round that's shooting above 3 minutes of angle. Now, on the good news, I'm starting to see some trends form from ammunition that we've tested previously. As you can see with the 62 grain Hornady as well as the 69 grain Federal Premium, for both times that we've shot them, they've been giving fairly consistent groups within certainly the margin of error of the shooter itself. And that's certainly good to see that we're getting ammo that's performing in a consistent manner, which indicates that it's a quality round to potentially use through your AUG. Now, the highlight of this video is the performance of Australian Outback. This was the cheapest 69 grain rounds that I tested, and all I can say is that they outperformed every other round that I have tested in both videos for my AUG. Now, granted, this is one 5-round group, and the results could be different if I shot it tomorrow or the next day, or if I shot it yesterday, etc. That being said, I have shot these rounds before, and with 10 rounds at 100 yards, I was able to get a group of about 1.4 inches. So I do think that these rounds have shown a tendency to perform accurately through the AUG. I can't comment on the science behind why these rounds seem to be vastly better than everything else that we've tested thus far, but my estimated guess is that Thales Australia, formerly known as Australian Defence Industries, or ADI, which is what is stamped on each of these rounds, produced these rounds with the intended use of shooting them through the F-88 Steyr, which, as some of you know, is the service rifle of the Australian Army. As such, my theory is that these rounds are specifically developed to perform effectively through an AUG. Now, this is the type of result that I was looking for with this series of tests, an affordable round that delivers accuracy above expectations. In conclusion, there were plenty of surprises in this video, both good and bad, but I certainly learned a lot. I hope you did as well. I hope that all of you watching this enjoyed this video as much as I have enjoyed making it. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.